Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a Monday edition of What the Truck. I'm your host, Malcom Harris. Of course, today is February 9th, and I'm so excited to be here with you guys today. Coming off of a Super Bowl, we're going to talk about the Super Bowl in our headline segment, but I told you guys on Friday, you got to go with the Seahawks. I'm never going to lead you astray, and hope you guys had a good Super Bowl Sunday around family as well as friends. We got a good show for you today because this show is about not your average Joe, and we got Joe in the building, but we also have Jane in the building because on deck, we're going to be led by two amazing conversations. Of course, Jane Jazrawy, she is the CEO of CarriersEdge and the creator of the Best Fleets to Drive For program. We're going to talk all about her career, the program, as well as what drivers are doing here in 2026, the entire aspect of what goes into trucking and how they come about, who kind of qualifies for this and what's going on with CarriersEdge as well. Jane is fantastic. We had a great pre-show call. I think you guys are going to get a lot of value out of this conversation. And then an old buddy of mine is actually in studio with me, y'all. This guy is phenomenal. He's representing Tame and Transport, and he is the president of the Chattanooga Supply Chain Association. So if you're in Freight Alley, you probably know this guy. If not, you're going to know him by the end of this episode. Joe Feeney, my dog, my brother, is here. We're going to have some great conversations about the association, about Tame and what's going on there. And then also, I might ask him a thing or two about chicken wings, some hip hop. We're going to get into all of it in the next 45 minutes or so. So thank you guys so much for being here. Between Jane as well as Joe, we got one heck of a show. All right. But before we get to our guest, let me talk to you guys a little bit about what has happened in the weekend of freight coming off of course, the Super Bowl. We're going to kick it right now with the FMCSA because this is something that I want you guys to really be invested in listening to. They have launched, of course, Operation Safe Drive. As you guys know, this has happened over the last, I'd say, 30-ish days or so. And the official, I'd say, segment one of this has been completed. So if you're not aware what this is, guys, this is a program that essentially is trying to put safety measures across the country, but it's a small sample size. It's 26 states. The majority of them are here in the South, and the numbers are absolutely staggering of what has been uncovered from this. And I want to put it in perspective for you guys. 8,215 inspections, all right? They have resulted in nearly 2,000 unqualified truckers and vehicles being removed from American roads. So between Secretary Duffy as well as the Trump administration, this has really taken shape nicely. Of course, 704 drivers have been placed out of service with nearly 500, all right? 500 for English language proficiency violations. Again, a total of about 2,000 unqualified truckers and vehicles were removed, but specifically 1,231 vehicles were placed out of service. And here's the kicker as well. 56 arrests, including DUIs and other traffic-related offenses. So the FMCSA is not playing around with this, and I do expect this to continue and to perhaps broaden. So we'll have more information on this on our website, or you can go to the FMCSA's website directly and get more information on it as well. Let's stick around here with the FMCSA because there's another article that I saw over the weekend that I wanted you guys to check out. We talked about this a little bit on Friday's show, I want to say, but I want to reiterate it. This came from John Gallagher. The FMCSA has designated English proficiency safe zones. So if you have not been aware of this, the FMCSA has clarified that these geographic exceptions to enforcement, essentially, they're ranging from 3 to 20 miles from the border, depending on the size of the population, and they will not be grounded if they fail a language evaluation. Instead, inspectors are directed to cite the violation, but let the driver proceed. So very curious on how this is going to look specifically in hotbed areas such as Laredo, such as in California, and other kind of populations that are notorious for violations in this range. So definitely weigh in with me on social media, either on LinkedIn or on Twitter at FW What the Truck, to kind of give us some insight about what you're thinking about this. I'm very curious to see how this is going to go over time. All right. And I want to transition to this next article that I have. We've dealt with a lot, and when I say a lot of attrition when it comes to businesses and layoffs in 2026. And now we're going to stick in Tennessee. Palladium Capital has filed for Chapter 11 as a trucking portfolio has unraveled yet again. All right, so this is a Tennessee-based equity firm. They've owned multiple trucking and logistics companies, and again, they filed for Chapter 11, and this was on January 26th in the U.S. Bankruptcy Court for the Middle District of Tennessee. Jersey. This listing ranged from 10 million to 50 million in assets and between a staggering 100 mil to 500 mil in liabilities, according to court records. So again, this is a company based out of Brentwood, Tennessee. I do not expect for this to be the last. We have touched on this, of course, because in recent days, Robert Beard Incorporated and Quickway, this is under kind of that same umbrella. All right. So again, this is like a subsidiary of that. And again, I got this morning and I wanted to touch on this. And that was from Noy Mahoney. Looking at this next article, guys, I saw this and I was like, wow, this is a major move happening out of New York. BlackRock, all right, if you guys are not familiar with BlackRock, they're a New York-based investment manager, and they're trying to partner with MSC to purchase Mar terminals, all right? And this is going to be a huge thing because, as you guys know, the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey signed a 33-year lease extension through 2063 with the Macquarie Group out of Australia, all right? And with this is really going to show, all right, this bidding effort for this opportunity when it comes to this in New York and New Jersey is going to be absolutely insane, all right? So it's not going to take effect immediately, but there is some effort right now to get this over the finish line. So for more on this, Stuart Churris, of course, is notorious for his good writing. I would definitely check that out on FreightWaves.com, all right? Now, guys, I told you guys Super Bowl was absolutely outstanding. You guys know me. If you see me on LinkedIn, if you see me in real life as well, you know what time it is. I love me some chicken wings, man. Shout out to Isaiah Buchanan bringing this to my attention. And shout out to Caleb Ravelli, all right? So, excuse me, Ravel. I'm apologizing, man. Caleb, I'll never miss your name like that, man. All right, so America's chicken wings, all right? We have officially, guys, listen to this. 1.5 billion wings were prepped yesterday for game day. I don't know about you. I'm going to ask Joe, and I'm going to ask Jane as well about her favorite chicken wing flavor. You guys know me very, very well, all right? It's not a secret. I'm a wing connoisseur. If you are not going with drums over flats, you are childish, all right? Like a flat takes so long. You gotta like go like this and do like, man, a drum is just like, like that's it. That's all you gotta do. And then of course, blue cheese over ranch, man. Ranch is just so loose and it's so weird. It's just not my style. So 1.48 billion officially wings were devoured by the American people yesterday. I really enjoyed the halftime show. I just wanna be completely transparent about it. I thought it was really cool. Music is just such a variety, and I think it was cool for Bad Bunny to be able to have that platform on the Super Bowl show yesterday. So Caleb, again, he put out a great article kind of outlining how much this is from a supply chain perspective. And I thought it was really, really awesome to just kind of see like, all right, we had Abe on Friday to talk about kind of the totality of what's happening behind the scenes when it comes to supply chain and logistics, when it comes to the Super Bowl. Caleb's piece yesterday really put it in perspective as well. So definitely go check that out right now on FreightWaves.com. It is live. And last time I want to talk about this, guys, I want to apologize. And the reason I want to apologize is because I was really, really sleepy on Friday. And the reason I was sleepy is because I stayed up all night long listening to one of my favorite rappers, J. Cole. He just dropped his album, his last studio album, The Fall Off, all right? And what you guys need to know, I know this has nothing to do with trucking, but for my drivers that are driving on that road that need something to listen to, for that executive that's like, man, I wonder what Malcolm Harris's playlist looks like. Look no further than The Fall Off, all right? So it just dropped here on this, again, on Friday. It's really, really awesome. A lot of different pieces and variations. There's two sides of this, all right? And I want to put it in perspective. The first side is going to be side 29. And for side 29, essentially, it's him coming back home from New York, and he was 29 years old, all right? This has been a piece that has been kind of here for the last decade or so. So what he wanted to do is essentially kind of shed light on where he was at his time in 29. And then the second side is a double album. Side 39 is more so introspective, and it shows, all right, like this is the maturation of J. Cole, and this is what I've seen in my time and kind of getting back to who I was, and kind of putting both pieces together. So this album is probably one of, if not the biggest album this year when it comes to hip hop. And I think you guys should definitely listen to it. My favorite song right now, Bunt City Road, is really is awesome. It's a good song. And then there's some other tracks on there as well. So definitely check it out right now, wherever you stream this podcast, wherever you get your music. And yeah, that is that. Now, those are your headlines again across across logistics, supply chain, chicken wings, as well as music. And now the moment you've all been waiting for, she's been waiting patiently in the dugout, and she is here with me right now, again, representing the CarriersEdge creators, of course, of the Best Fleets to Drive program, Jane Jazrawy. Jane, what is going on? How are you?
Hi, I'm here with you. So this is and you're awake. I'm very happy to hear that.
Yeah. No, I'm ready to go. On Friday, we had a really good show, but I was like, oh my gosh, like I shouldn't have stayed up until 3:30 a.m. listening to an album. And it's like, I'm good now. I'm refreshed. I got some water. I'm ready to go. Quick question: how was your
Okay.
Super Bowl Sunday? Was it good?
Well, it was actually a pretty good day. I was doing work though, but I did catch the halftime show. I agree with you. I think it was really good. And I actually came downstairs right when the Patriots got a touchdown. So I think I gave them a little bit of luck. Like I think I improved the game somewhat. But it was, yeah, I enjoyed it.
Well,
And I
Jane.
would also say that blue cheese.
I see. I knew we were close. I knew we were close, and this is why. Blue cheese is superior. It's just not
It
even
is.
a contest to me.
It is.
Um,
And if you haven't had, you just got to get over it. You just got to, it is good and it's good with wings. I like it.
what is your
And I also
favorite?
agree with you. Sorry.
No. I was gonna say, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say drums. Yeah, for sure.
Oh wow. So like we're just like besties. That's what you're saying, basically.
We are. Hmm.
Okay. What's your favorite wing sauce before we get this segment started? If you had to go just a wing sauce, are you buffalo? Are you like teriyaki, lemon pepper? Where are we going?
I don't know. I just kind of like hot.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
just,
That's
I'm
fair.
just kind of a straight hot, or honey garlic is okay, but I'm kind of like, give me some spice. I'm not really totally concerned about what kind it is because I have blue cheese to go with it, and it's all right.
Perfect. Well, when you're here, hopefully in Chattanooga for F3 this year, which I'm praying that you will be, we'll get some wings. I'll have the blue cheese ready to go, and we're just going to have a great conversation. Hopefully, not watching a Patriots game, might watch a Falcons game or something like that. But no, for those folks that don't know you, Jane, and about Carrier's
Mm.
Edge, talk to us a little bit about you, your career path, which has been absolutely bizarre, and then talk to us a little bit about the overall company and just why you're on the show today.
Oh, well, I was a teacher. I was a teacher a long, long time ago. And I was a teacher who didn't really like teaching. So I don't like standing up in front of a class. I like creating things. So I ended up, this was back in the early 90s, and I kind of was at the forefront of online everything. Like when online started to happen, I was there back in the days of Netscape Navigator and BBSs and like some really really dorky stuff. But I kind of was really interested in online learning. So when the internet started to be used for learning, I kind of was right in there experimenting with it. And I've been in online learning for like the last, I don't know, 20, 25 years. And so Carrier's Edge is, I was doing e-learning for corporate white collar, and we kind of got tired of it because lots of people do e-learning for corporate white collar. So we decided that we wanted to focus on, find someone who needed it, find an industry who needed online learning. And we found trucking, and we started, really focusing more on what the needs of the industry are. And so we now have a comprehensive online driver training platform, generally for small to medium fleets, and it's easy to get started. You can go to carriersedge.com, go and see a trial. You can get a catalog of all our courses. We have courses for both Canada and the United States in Spanish and French, and so that's a little bit about us. What we did back in 2006, 2007, when we were sort of first starting to sell into the industry, we realized that there was a need for something that's going to help be a matchmaker between carriers and drivers. Like people were complaining about each other a lot. So that's kind of when the Best Fleets was born, because there was no other employer, like best employer program for the trucking industry. So we started one. We were the OG, and it's been going for, I guess this is our 19th year.
Holy smokes. I mean, just
I
to
know,
have that
pretty old.
longevity there is is ridiculous. I mean, it kind of shows a testament of you and the people around you and kind of what you've been able to do over time. And I want to ask a secondary question. This program, right? When it comes down to it, you guys again been doing this for a while, but why does this program matter so much right now? And really, how did this all come into fruition to kind of just be steady over the course of all these years?
Well, we had people want the trucking industry. It kind of different. Like trucking companies differentiate themselves partly with awards, safety awards, on time awards, like that kind of thing. And because the industry is very, to the outside, it looks like it's all the same. So it's a way for trucking companies to differentiate each other. But
No.
it kind of what it started out being kind of just an awards program, and we were doing it with the Truckload Carriers Association like when it first started. But what we started realizing is that it was a benchmarking program too. It was fleets were coming into it year over year and using it to figure out not trends necessarily, but what they could be doing better and how their drivers felt about what they were doing and what the new things in the industry were. So people would start to ask us things like, what is everybody else doing? What are you hearing? What are you seeing this year? And that has continued. So what it is really useful for and what's really valuable for is that not just the individual carriers or the individual fleets results, but that is really valuable as well. But it's also a kind of a snapshot of the industry year over year. And so we've been able to predict trends. We've been able to see when times are tough. Like we can see just from nominations and how many carriers participate, how the economy is going. So when we go to, something like the ATA's annual conference, ATRI is not surprising for us. Like whatever ATRI is saying, we're finding the same thing.
Now, Jane, I want to ask because you broke this down into four specific phases, and I want to make sure I got it right. Nomination, questionnaire, interview, and driver survey. How was it designed this way? Was there certain strategies behind this, or what were you thinking initially?
The first thing that we thought was we do not want this to be an application process. It's a nomination. So a driver has to nominate, and that's really important because it starts with the driver, it ends with the driver. In between, the driver nomination is one of the easiest parts of the process. Somebody has to put their hand up and say, I think this is a great place to work. Then the fleet is invited to participate, and they do an extensive questionnaire. It's about 100 questions, and then a corporate interview. And then they do a driver survey, or they do the driver surveys kind of to top it all off.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now, at what point is it really kind of clear which fleets are kind of just checking boxes and then other fleets that are actually like, hey, investing in drivers, investing in the actual thing that keeps America's freight moving?
You can see it's when fleets use marketing phrases, like they talk. There are things that we have heard so many times. Open door policy, I think, is a phrase that we've heard over and over and over again for years, and we're actually trying to get people to stop saying that because it doesn't mean anything. When people try and use the marketing, we call it marketing speak, but when they do that, we know that. And what happens is they put in the questionnaire, we ask them about it. So if we don't see something specific, like there's a specific driver program that someone is trying to create and nurture, we ask about it. So it's like, okay, well, what do you mean by this? What do you mean by, what you said here? And then whoever is speaking for the fleet is going to give us an answer. And that sometimes they just don't really understand the question, and then we get a great answer. But sometimes they are talking and they're just talking and they're just saying words. And that they're not just checking boxes necessarily, but they haven't really figured out what they want to do or why they think it's important. And what happens is if the fleets stick with it, because it's kind of like a benchmarking program, if they come in, you don't get on the top 20 the first year, you come back in the second year, and you look at, we also provide reports so you can see how you did. And then you go in, you kind of get better the second year, and then you get better again. And then we have 4 fleets, I think, on the top 20 this year who have been in the program for, 4 or 5 years, and now are just finally a top 20 because they just stuck with it and just kept improving and kept doing incremental changes.
Now, Jane, this is a question that popped up in my head that
Mhm.
it's kind of robust, and I want to ask: retention and safety. What are those two kind of pillars? Do they play any major roles when it comes to deciding this? Because I was just thinking off the top of my head, I was like, I wonder, what that would look like.
Yeah, we don't. It's funny because people have often thought it was a retention program or it's a safety program. They kind of put those lenses on it, and we do ask for some safety and retention information, but it's a really small part. The theory is that you put the programs into place, you get the driver surveys, and so there's a score associated with the driver survey, and there's a score associated with the information that we get from the carrier, and we put that together. And what we want to know is, what are your results? So you've put these programs into place, the drivers are following them, so now what? And that's where we use DOT reportables, and we have a retention score that we calculate from numbers that the fleets give us. And then it's a small part on the end, but it's important, because if you don't have results, then your programs haven't matured enough. So what we see is that the fleets who have been following this process and been going in every year and are on the top 20, they just get better and better because they're constantly trying to improve. And then their safety scores do improve, and the retention also improves, just because that incremental effort of, I'm going to change this little part. Let's see what the drivers think. I'll change this little part. Okay, this is going well, and we can be more successful.
That's such a solid answer, and I couldn't phrase that better myself. And I appreciate you answering that question for me.
Yeah,
I want to talk to you real quick about, there's so many different types of programs that are very similar to Best Fleets. Why is this so different in comparison to different competitors that are doing the same things? I've heard you kind of talk about like the aspects of what you all are doing, but is there anything that you can just be like, hey, like this is the secret sauce. This is the crispiness of the chicken wing. This is the meat of it. This is why we're different.
the drumstick. Um, it's the interview. I think the interview is what makes it different. A fleet can't just, well, the nomination and the interview. We're the only program of this like this that does the interview. The interviews are extensive and they're tiring and they're a lot of work. But what we get, and I'm going to go back to that whole thing with marketing speak, is that we can say to a carrier, okay, you said this, what do you actually mean? Or maybe you didn't understand the question, let's clarify it with you. So we get that, one-on-one with the carriers and the representatives, and we get a really good sense of how they approach a conversation. Like if we can't get an interview scheduled with them, or they leave it to the last minute, or they do something else, we can start to see the way that they're going to treat drivers. So the interview process, scheduling the interview, how the interview goes, are they late? Do they take a call halfway through? That kind of thing. Like, how serious are you? That interview really tells you something a lot. It gives you that whole nonverbal connection. And we don't score people on the interview, but what we find is that the interview often kind of underscores what is happening in the questionnaire.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, I want to go to the heart of this because in research and kind of the preparation, let's talk about the driver survey. All right. And
Mm-hmm.
with the driver survey specifically, what do you see? Like, is it just a bunch of just different things across the board? I mean, just kind of walk us through like this process and why it's so important and kind of the common themes that you're seeing right now.
Okay. So it's important to the carrier. Like, you can't be a best employer if you don't get feedback from the people who are employed, right?
Yeah,
So that's
yeah,
really important.
yeah.
So every fleet has to get a certain number done, but we see all of them and we see the trends. We get more drivers. I think we survey more drivers. Like we kind of do the most. I think we have the most extensive. We ask the most questions. We ask questions that are very different from everybody, and we get a real sense of how people are feeling. We added a couple more questions that drivers did not. Most of the driver survey is kind of agree, disagree. Like, do you think, is your company trustworthy? Then that's a, yes or no. And there's like 5 different levels. And we asked if 2 new questions. One was, do you feel like your carrier provides programs that support your mental health? And that one was, I think that I'm going to mention that at our conference that is happening on March 16th and 17th, is that it's not very good. There's a lot of negative response to that one. There was the other one that I can't remember the other one that we did, but what we do is every year we kind of change the questions to match what has happened over the previous year. So if fleets are doing something with technology, then we will ask more about cybersecurity. What are you doing with cybersecurity? And what are you doing with your drivers for cybersecurity? And for the drivers, we start to ask new things that other people haven't really thought of. And fleets often don't have a good answer for. So you start to really see something interesting. The trends, my favorite questions are what do you like the best? And what would you like to see changed at your carrier? And those are completely open-ended questions. So getting the stats, we have around 4,500 surveys this year. And so getting through that is, it's a lot of work and a lot of kind of, reading and trying to figure out what it is. But what I would say for this year, it's definitely pay. Satisfaction in general has gone down, and pay is the biggest issue.
That's
Way
a lot.
more than last year.
That's a lot to take, and I was thinking that would be near the top of the list. I mean, it's been a challenging year. It's no secret, and also you said something about mental health that I think is extremely important. We actually had a primary physician who specializes in like truck drivers specifically passing their physical exams, of course, to be on the road, and he was just saying the mental health aspect has been something that has been severely neglected by different companies. So to hear that you have tangible data to kind of speak to that only kind of amplifies what he was saying. And hopefully that this year we'll be able to kind of see progress in that area as well. And I want to ask, when it comes to this year, like we've mentioned, it's been on the show, 2026 is going to be tough. Obviously the market is kind of transitioning more so into truckers' favors, but also there's still some underlying things that need to come about to really get this to where it needs to be to take an advantage of it. What do you see as the biggest challenge in 2026 when it comes to drivers? Is there any common themes that you're kind of looking to and being like, all right, like, hey, like this is going to be something that's reoccurring over time?
I think just kind of the stability.
Yeah.
One of the things that drivers are really into, or that what we've found over the years that have been really a focus for them, is finding a good carrier, being able to stay there for the rest of their career. They want that. Like, people want to find a good, stable opportunity, but also not just have it be stable, but also give them the opportunity to grow. And that is something that we have seen in the best fleets, is that the more successful ones have career paths. They've figured it out. They figured out how to either give someone a career path when you're still in the truck, and sometimes when they're out of the truck. So you're going into the office, for example. So what I think is the thing that fleets are probably going to be working on, and what drivers are going to be looking for, is that stability. Are you going to be able to keep the lights on? Or is your company, on the brink? Drivers are not interested in going to, go work for somebody who's going to then turn around and like go bankrupt. So there's that. And, are you going to be able to get me the miles? Are you going to get me home when I want to, but also help me get enough money so I can pay my mortgage? So that kind of, I think that's what carriers and drivers are both going to be looking for, and trying to come back to a place of stability from the last 2 or 3 years, where it's been a lot of change. Let's just say that.
It's had a lot of change, most definitely. Now, Jane, I know I've had you in the hot seat, so I just want to ask this final question. When it comes to what's next for Carrier's Edge, what's next for this program, walk us through the evolution of what's about to happen and where we can go get more information about what you and your wonderful team are doing, because it's outstanding work. I just want to be completely honest. So,
Oh, thank you.
yeah, of
Thank you.
course.
If you're interested in the best fleets to drive for, go to bestfleetstodrivefor.com. You can also follow us on Facebook. We will also, and YouTube. We have our awards presentation. So we have a top 20. If you're interested in the top 20, go to Best Fleets to Drive For. You can register for our conference on March 16th and 17th, where we will not only be presenting the overall awards for small and large carrier, but we have panel speakers and special guests, and we'll be talking about how to come back from kind of the crazy that's been going on, and how to build that solid foundation. If you're interested in online driver training, you can come visit us at CarriersEdge.com, and you can find us on LinkedIn and Facebook as well.
Jane, you are the best. Looking forward to meeting you in person. Hopefully, you're down here, like I
Yeah,
said, in Chattanooga, and I'll have the hot wings, and you have the data ready to go, and we'll compare notes and go back and forth. So,
sounds good.
thanks again for being here. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, pleasure to be here. Thank
Yeah,
you.
of course, of course. That was a great segment, and now we're going to end the show because it's not your average Joe again. And Jane, it's not your average Joe, but this guy is really not your average Joe. And I want to welcome him. He's representing, of course, Taman Transport, as well as he is the president of the Chattanooga Supply Chain Association. Joe Feeney. Joe, come on up, brother. What's happening? I feel like there needs to be some applause. I mean, there's something,
I
dog.
like talking to a big empty room.
Hello.
Good to see you,
It's
man.
good to see you too, man. How's let me shift, get myself together. How are you? I'm gonna take this earpiece out, man. I don't
Man.
hi.
What's up?
So welcome to What the Truck, man.
I'm excited to be on here.
We've come a long way.
Yeah. This is quite a studio.
This is quite a studio, it's quite a space, and dude, I just appreciate you being here. Now, I did make an oopsie, and I have to correct myself. Bro, I said a J. Cole song that does not exist. I said like Bunt City Road. It is supposed to be Bunt's Road Blues. That is my favorite song off of J. Cole's project. And I got a text and I was just like, did I say Bunt City Road? No, it's Bunt's Road Blues, man. It's got Future Tim's in it as well. That is my favorite song off of the Fall Off.
I don't have a favorite. No, I was going to be asked that. I would have done more research.
It's okay. It's okay.
Been a DJ at the office recently. So when it dropped, I made sure to play the album.
Nice.
And so I've enjoyed the new album, and J. Cole's just cool. I appreciate him stepping back.
Yeah. So you appreciated him stepping back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. He's got other things to do. It's like we don't need him forever. He's done well.
He's a family man, and I want to talk because you just said something. And first off, I want to show some love. Taman, thank you so much for allowing my man to be here. How is business going at Taman, and then Office DJ? That's a lot of pressure, bro.
Office DJ is more pressure than I would expect to happen. Yeah, it happened, but I'm doing okay with the DJing.
Good.
And Taman, I've been there coming up on 2 years.
Nice.
And it's been, the last 2 years, I've developed as a broker more than I expected to. I call it the place a hard work factory.
The place a hard work factory.
I want it to be. I like hard work. I like staying busy, but we've got a good gym in the basement and nice rooftop. So if I got to go in early or stay late, like I can grab my laptop, get on the roof with a jumper, open a kettlebell, send emails, it's up, and just I got no complaints.
Huh? Zero. Especially on a beautiful day like today. Like this is outstanding.
Yeah, I'll stay till 5. But
It's nothing. I want to talk because your position, man. You have been appointed as the president of this board, man, the Chattanooga Supply Chain Association. Walk me through, how did this come to pass? What do you all do? And just who you are, and how we even got here, man.
Okay, so yeah, so I'm the president of Chattanooga Supply Chain Association. Essentially, as an association, our goal is to bring together brokers, shippers,
Yeah.
and truckers. Basically, anyone who represents the supply chain careers and opportunities within Chattanooga. Um, we've had successes in the last few years with golf tournaments, happy hours, and we've been able to get brokers involved, which is incredibly important. But this year, my goal is to get the shippers and the truckers involved locally. And so I'm kind of rethinking how we're gonna be approaching networking as a whole and as a city in order to get more people involved.
Yeah.
Um, I've been to a number of networking events. When I was in a different industry in Nashville, I had a manager that would send me to networking events, and we'd be at a bar from 7 to 9. It was like divorced real estate agents like giving you business cards, and I was like, "What am I doing here? What are we actually
Yeah.
accomplishing while we're here?" So we are the Chattanooga Supply Chain Association. So I think instead of having our focus be like, let's throw parties and try to have a party that's fun enough for everyone to get together, um, I don't think that's the direction I want to take it. I
Yeah.
want to say Chattanooga is first, right?
It is.
I think I'm a broker.
Yep.
My job is to speak to businesses, speak to trucking companies, find their pain, and solve it.
Yeah.
Um, I think that's what the people in the Chattanooga Supply Chain Association should be doing for the city of Chattanooga.
Okay.
I think, but we just won. We're the number one logistics city.
Say it one more time.
We're the number one logistics.
Okay, I was just making sure you say it proudly. Now.
So that means a lot, but we have to make it mean more than that.
Yeah.
Right? That means we have to have a culture to protect. If we're the number one city, we also have probably the lowest cost of living between the other cities.
100%.
Companies are looking at Chattanooga. Companies are looking to come here, and they're looking to lay ground here. And we got to have that talent, but we also have to show what Chattanooga is. And I think if we take our networking and have the parties, have the golf, but add a community service function, have everything we do give back to the Chattanooga community, and have that be our mission, that be our focus, I think shippers, brokers, and truckers will show up to get involved in our community and start giving back.
100%.
So that's essentially the theory that I want to put into play this year. I know you were at our last.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. It was awesome. We had the event at Boneyard and doing some stuff for the homeless here in Chattanooga, and I thought it was fantastic, the work that you're doing and leading. I mean, I appreciate you for. I don't think you realize like how important this is. So like salute. Like I really appreciate it, dog.
And with that event, I really didn't touch the X's and O's at all. That was the first one I got to do as the president of Chattanooga Supply Chain Association. We had a happy hour at Boneyard, but on top of just the happy hour, we asked everyone that show up bring items that we listed, or it was the Chattanooga Free Pantry and Hope Community Fridge.
Yeah.
So we had the happy hour going on. We had music playing. There was karaoke out there. But during the happy hour, people brought in food, meal kits, hygiene kits, and while people were drinking and socializing, you were busy the whole.
I mean, we're putting together kits and stuff, but I mean, the end result was great. And I think we got a photo of us, actually. It was myself, Alexis, Dustin, putting some materials. Yeah, you can see us right here. Somebody, I think that's you back there. Yeah, so we got a great image of the end result, and it's cool, man. I think the work that was done, and that was, of course, yeah, like you said, at Boneyard. My man Reed was in the building, Alexis, yeah, Virginia. It was a lot of good that happened. And I love this emphasis that you're taking on it, because community is so important. And I think that, there's this aspect, but then also there was I want to kind of go back one second, because there's a scholarship and educational piece to this too. You know, and like, how are you guys able to kind of leverage that aspect with like the future of Chattanooga kind of growing into this as well?
Yeah. So, with the community service aspect, we're also gonna start raising funds for scholarships. The scholarships that we're looking to do at first, because we don't have a lot of money right now. I have a broker balling on a budget, but they're gonna start fundraising. They're starting with the events, and we're gonna try to start out by giving away CDLs.
Nice.
So I believe for $2,000 we can get a new driver on the road out of our Chattanooga community. So that's just another example. It's small, it's tangible. We can put it in someone's hands in the city and say, we helped that person get a job.
Yeah.
Um, as we grow the scholarship fund, we're going to be able to work with UTC and students that have an interest in supply chain and logistics, and garner the talent out of there and find more people to give opportunities to.
For sure. Joe, let me ask, when it comes to just, I mean, knowing you, knowing your background, how have you been able just to give your all to this? And like, it's genuine. Like, you care about logistics, you care about people. Like, it's no smoke. Like, you care. Like, why has that been just a staple of everything you've done in your tenure?
Well, and I mean, any shipper listening to this knows your best brokers are the brokers that care. Uh, I think it it's it should be a seamless transition to the rest of my life. I care about my shipper's freight. I care about the city I live in. I care about the people I work with.
Yeah.
Now I'm just going to do all those three things together. I think by implementing that into the culture of the Chattanooga Supply Chain Association, as we drive our membership, as we have more offerings for people, the people that show up to these events are going to be the do-gooders in town.
For sure.
They're going to be the people that want to show up to a happy hour that gives back to the community.
I agree.
Shippers looking for brokers are going to look at the events where the people that care about their community are showing up.
Sure.
Truckers are going to work with the brokerages that had 10 people painting, the parking lot lines at their kids' school.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we're going to find opportunities in this community that need real, like, actionable fixing. And we're going to have the do-gooders and the backbone of this community ready to go.
I agree. Now, let me ask, when it comes to building, and that's a perfect segue, membership. I'm sure there are hundreds of folks that are going to see this episode when it comes to whether they're a broker, whether they're like an owner operator here in town. Where can they go get more information about what you and the rest of the association are doing for potential membership as well?
Yeah, so Chattanooga Supply Chain Association.org is our website. You can sign up there right now. The membership is completely free. Just sign up and you'll get lots of our upcoming communications. The next event we're going to have is at Wanderlinger Brewing Company.
Nice.
On February 24th. We're going to be using this happy hour as an opportunity to work with Chattanooga Room at the Inn. It's a shelter for homeless women and children. So we'll be asking people to bring diapers, plasticware, laundry detergent, socks, bras, sports bras, toothbrushes, toothpaste, deodorant, shampoo, antibacterial hand soap, trash bags, bleach, paper towels, and plastic cups. So that is the next event. And I forgot the original question. I just had to say.
No. That's literally what I wanted. Now, my final question for you.
Free now, and hopefully within a year or two we'll have so much to offer. This plan will get us to where we can say we have hundreds and hundreds of memberships. We want 10% off memberships, GM or CA or this, and then we can start asking the community to give back to us. I think we just got to humble ourselves for a bit first before we.
This is chicken wings. Are you drums or flats?
Flats.
Oh my gosh, dog.
I went the Food City $15 thing bucket loaded up with lemon pepper wings over the Super Bowl yesterday.
I love it, Joe.
I'm gonna do all flats.
Thank you. It's all right, man. Because I'll next time we'll share, and I'll get the drums, you get the flats. Joe Feeney, blue cheese too. Okay, the blue cheese guy, I love it, man. And if you don't like blue cheese, you should let me know, and I'm probably not gonna respond back. Literally, anyway. Looking for Wednesday's show on deck. We are going to have some folks for the road ahead because CDL Shorty is in the building. This guy, you've seen him all over social media. Avante Jackson, he is one of the best instructors in the CDL game. He is going to be here on the show. And then Nathan Adams, he is with Uber Freight, gonna be here. See you guys on Wednesday. I'm Malcolm Harris. Adios.